know what we're talking about this morning. Mayor Boris Johnson wants greater financial autonomy for London. He wants independence for us when it comes to making financial decisions in the same kind of way that Scotland and Wales have independence when it comes to using their money and lots of our money too to do what they want to do. We generate more than anybody else. We attract more talent than anywhere else in the country. And the question for you is, has Boris Johnson for once not gone far enough? This is the mayor discussing this yesterday.
And it's nothing to do with the city-state idea. We don't want London to declare UDI. We don't want to grab huge new sums of tax that could otherwise go to other parts of the country. That's not the name of the game. We've got to face the fact that London is very successful at the moment. The population is rising fast. It represents an ever bigger share of our national GDP. London now 22% of the whole of the UK's economic output. And we've got to provide for a fast-growing population. We have 9 million people by 2021. So that means more infrastructure, hundreds of thousands of more homes, and it means steady and consistent investment. And what Tony Travers' report says, which is so good and so interesting, is that if you gave London the stability and confidence of these particular devolving these particular property taxes to the city government, boroughs, and to the GLA, then there would be much more certainty over finance for a long period.
So maybe you go as far as Boris Johnson. You would like greater financial independence for London. Or maybe you go even further. You would like London to be the independent state of London, thinking it has little in common with its nearest neighbours. Go just, 20, 30, 40 miles outside London. Is it like finding yourself in a foreign country? 0207 224 2000. Let's talk to Ben Rogers, Director at the Centre for London and a member of the London Finance Commission. Hello, Ben. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So can you explain, first of all, how it is that, as Stephanie Flanders, the BBC's economics editor, says, the average Londoner generates 70% more than any other Briton anywhere else in the country? And we're very pleased we do it. We think we've done terribly well. But how do we do it?
Well, it's a magnet for people who are already highly qualified and they're more productive. And then when people get together, in large numbers and sort of work together, they become much more productive as well. So it's a factor of those two things. And of course, the rest of the country, we've invested a lot of money in London, or the country as a whole has invested a lot of money in London. And that helps as well. Helps get us around quickly. Helps us make us more productive in that way.
And Boris says that we generate 22% of the GDP. What does that mean in layman's terms?
Well, it means that if you take the wealth of the country as a whole, and we're producing 22% of it. But I think it's really important to say that we said from the very beginning that it was a condition of any of the proposals that we came up with that they would not hurt the UK, or that they would not benefit London at the expense of the UK. So if we can make London grow further, that benefits the rest of the country in taxes.
All right, well, I'm just coming to the proposals.
Right.
I just wanted to establish why it is that we feel we're entitled to ask for greater independence. And I think we have now established that because, as you've just said, we're generating 22% of the GDP. We're, as individuals, generating 70% more than anybody else anywhere outside London. And therefore, because we're producing so much of it, I assume that's why you think that you would draw up this report saying that we need greater financial independence.
No, we think that the London government, it would be better positioned, would spend the money in a sense more effectively to increase London and the UK's growth than the national government, which is more remote. We want sort of tailor-made tax policies for London.
Give us some examples, because all it really says in the report that we've had access to is, to build the infrastructure for London in the way that you see fit for London. But what does that mean? What sort of thing?
Well, at the moment we have I think, a very regrettable situation where the Mayor and the Transport for London have to go to the Treasury every sort of 2 or 3 years and negotiate a settlement. Now, that makes it very, very hard to plan ahead. And it makes it very hard to sort of get favourable terms from lenders and investors and from business, because they don't know whether the sort of the direction of policy, or whether the money's going to sort of keep coming. So if the Mayor and the boroughs could raise their own money, they'd be able to sort of plan over the long term.
So it's about long-term planning, but is it also about specific ideas for investment? Are there things that you would imagine spending the money on that central government might not consider spending the money on?
Well, there's certainly things that Boris and the boroughs say they want. Crossrail 2 would be an example, and whether those are going to get funded is very uncertain. But I think another sort of point to make is that currently there is often resistance to new development in London because local people quite rightly think they're going to get some of the sort of downsides of development in terms of noise or more congestion, but they're not going to get any of the upside in terms of the money that is generated or goes straight to the Treasury. Now, maybe if we could have a system where people knew that the boroughs and others knew that there was a new shopping centre, new housing, new office blocks, but the money that was generated through tax was going to go, more of it was going to go directly to them, they would look much more favourably upon development.
Boris says he's going to fight this one very hard. He's not going to take any kind of refusal lying down. What does that mean? What means does the mayor have open to him to try to get this hammered through?
None, apart from the power of the considerable power of his profile and influence.
So you mean if he says loud enough that we deserve it, we're entitled to it, there's a possibility we might get it, is there?
I think that's right. I mean, to be fair to the government, they have already devolved some taxes, and they are certainly talking the language of devolution to cities. And again, what we've said of all the proposals that we've suggested for London would apply elsewhere as well to other cities. England remains an extraordinarily centralised country. We looked at where it stands in relation to other advanced economies. We are by far the most centralised country when it comes to tax take and the quantity of tax that is raised and spent locally compared to the quantity that's spent nationally. Now, we've given we've devolved power to Scotland and to Wales without any disastrous consequences. We're saying it's time to devolve power within England. And we don't think the regions, probably was never much support for regional assemblies when Labour, Blair and Brown tried that, but devolved to the cities.
OK, final question. When we pay our council tax in Barnet or Bromley or Bow, does some of the money we pay end up in Scotland and Wales and Sheffield, or does it all stay in London?
Well, it all goes to the Treasury, and then they have formulas for deciding how it goes. I mean, it does go to Scotland and Wales. I mean, I don't have my view certainly is that I don't want. None of us on the Commission wanted, anything like independence for London. London is the capital of the United Kingdom, the capital of Britain, the capital of England. It's been the capital of England for many, centuries and centuries. And I think these are sort of deep, deep ties of culture and national identity, which mean that there's absolutely not the remotest chance of London ever declaring UDI.